flicker to switcher.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're starting a little bit earlier today because we have the entire county that we're going to go through our departmental budget presentations. First off are the commissioners. So with that, Robert, I think you already have everything up. The only thing that after conversations earlier this morning with staff, I did recognize that in the sheriff's budget, he had road funding for gravel improvements at the shooting range. So I think we could add that as a capital item, and it comes out of the commissioner's budget. Do you think that's the most appropriate?
We could add that as a capital item,
Okay.
not in the commissioner's budget, but in the capital.
But in the capital?
fund, yeah.
Okay, so just to make that notation.
I will.
And I did the math, and again, I'm guessing at this, but I'll verify the dimensions. But I think that we should put $10,000 in the capital for that, if you guys think that it's necessary.
Yeah,
Okay.
getting in and out of that range is, especially with the wet weather we're supposed to have during this season.
Okay, then we can move that 10,000 into capital, and we'll be okay from there. Robert, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
The only adjustment, other than what you were just discussing, the only adjustment we have is the professional services going down from $248,000 to $25,000. The difference is 25 is what had previously been budgeted. $248,000 included funds for attorney fees for the collective bargaining. So it's possible that depending on how things go towards the end of the year, we may want to transfer some of that over into the next year. But if that gets expended this year and doesn't need to be expended next year, it wouldn't be in next year's budget.
Okay. And do we think that we're going to make it this year with the FOP, or what's your thought?
My thoughts are, yeah, we'll make it. Whoa, that's loud.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a significant decrease because obviously we put in all of those attorney fees for the collective bargaining.
Yeah,
Okay?
all right.
Anything else? Nope, all right. Moving along. Next up, we have our county attorney. It's a little different seeing you down there than up here.
Before
Being on the side.
Before we move on too much further, I did just want to highlight that the salaries and fringe, some departments included a cost of living adjustment, some didn't. What we'll do is harmonize that across all of the departments depending on what the commissioners decide. So don't look at those as specifically correct. That'll get corrected later on in the budgeting process. Mostly departments are kind of discussing what their additional budget items are.
Okay, very good. Okay, Stephen?
Commissioner, this is my first time going through the budget process. So I mean, from my perspective, really, we're keep leaving everything how it's been. I think year over year, the biggest difference is this past year, one of the 3 positions in my office was vacant for 3/4 of the year. So that's going to be the biggest change from last year to next year. But otherwise, things are pretty much the same. The only real adjustments are we did we enlarged that position, so overall salaries increased a bit, and then some of my professional services, specifically Westlaw, basically every year when you have to renew, they raise the rate, and so I needed some additional money in the professional services category. But otherwise, we're looking to continue the budget status quo, essentially.
The one other thing I did want to highlight is you did ask to increase the dues, training, and travel by $1,500 now that you have 2 attorneys on staff to make sure
Okay.
both attorneys can go to continuing education.
Yeah, thank you.
Question?
In continuing education, do you travel to those? Do you virtually do them? What?
It's kind of a mix. I think our main kind of continuing education activities we're members of the County Attorneys Association. And so there's 2 conferences a year. One's usually in person in the summer, and the winter conference is typically virtual. Being from a smaller county, I do think it's pretty important for us to go in person and be able to talk to some of the county attorneys in other counties around the state, just to kind of make those personal connections. If we need to hop on the phone and ask people things, I think that's pretty critical. So we typically go in person to one of the conferences, but then if we want to do some more specific skill building, continuing education, those are often would be potentially in person as well. Things through the Bar Association or other professional services organizations.
All right.
And I agree with it too. I mean, a
Yeah.
$1,500 increase for dues, travel, and training for what we continually put on top of you is pretty inexpensive. I mean, in my opinion, it's well worth that $1,500.
What I see on the horizon, it's almost a necessity.
And I think in-person training, just from my opinion, I mean, is way more valuable than the virtual. I mean, virtual gives you the information, but you miss out on the conversations with all of the other people that are there, which that's where the real, in my opinion, for me as a commissioner, of being able to meet with other commissioners after the classes. So to me, that's more powerful and stronger.
Yeah, and we try to take advantage of the different opportunities. Obviously, it is more costly to go somewhere in person. So we attend basically all of the continuing education opportunities through the County Attorneys Association, and then whatever else kind of fits our needs of what we're working on or specific subject areas maybe we need to learn a little more about.
Okay. Good.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, since we're getting all the attorneys out of the way, come on down, District Attorney.
I don't know what kind of paperwork that you guys do have, but they said you might want to see my math on everything, so that's my whole email.
How come you printed it so small?
That's what it fit on.
Because there's just so many numbers.
Right.
We actually do have 11 by 17 in this county.
Not on our copier.
Oh, and that's why you need a new copier, is that what you're saying?
No, that's actually not on the budget.
I see how this is working.
Yeah.
I see how this is gonna work.
I might
Not
just,
buying it.
Right. I might just start to go over it a little bit and hopefully explain it really clearly first, and then Jeremy can go from there. We really don't have a huge difference in our operation costs or anything like that. And so I kept those relatively the same across the board. I decreased our postage just because we're kind of getting into a lot more emails. What was really expensive for our postage was like victim notifications or that kind of stuff that we're kind of subsidizing with some of the grant that pays for that as well. We're doing a lot of email notifications now, so we don't have to mail out quite as much stuff. So I did decrease that slightly. And I decreased the repairs and maintenance a little bit as well, just because we don't utilize that a ton either. And then the only increase that you gentlemen are going to see is our salaries and fringe benefits. And Jeremy can talk about this in a second. The biggest reason for that is that we are going to have to pay more for the DA and the ADA, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. But also, I wanted to explain the portion I want to make sure is really clear, is that Mr. Hatfield had 6 attorneys last year. That's what we're operating at right now. That's what we need to operate at next year. And so our total cost for that was the 1.2 million. Our budget was only 1,050,000, 60,000 almost. We did spend the 1.2. And so I want to make sure that that gets reflected, that that's our true operating costs with the 6 attorneys. And then I added the increase for what we're going to have to cover for the DA and the ADA. We were able to cover that last year without having to ask the county for additional money because we had gaps in employment, so we had some rollover funds. I did mention to Travis and Rob both that we have some gaps in employment this year as well. We've been operating with 4 attorneys until just recently, and so we should have around like 175, 200,000 to recommit to the budget next year. But we need it to truly reflect that 1.2 as our budget. So I want you guys to take that into consideration, that really we're only asking for like 150,000 extra. I'll be able to match that. So with what's left over, and I don't know, Travis and I kind of talked, that may look like a check, us writing a check to the county and then you guys just giving it in our quarterly disbursements throughout the next year or whatever. It doesn't matter, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that
So-
we would have some additional funds left over.
So it's not really the 300 and I'll round it to 40,000? Is that kind of, so we're back to like almost 150 and that's,
Yeah, and it's up to the commissioners how they want to do it, but keep in mind that the DA's office has been understaffed, and we want to
Yeah.
ensure that they're fully staffed and compensated correctly. They haven't asked for anything for 3 years.
I was gonna say at least for 2 years that I know of.
More than that, I mean, really, and that's been the thing, is we have operated a lot, we're usually understaffed, and so we've been able to take some of those savings and.
So I thought, you guys are not fully staffed now? Because I thought you were.
We are now, as of
So
July.
We're fully staffed
Oh.
right now, so there's 5 attorneys plus me, so 6 total. That's the first time that I've been in the office that we've been fully staffed like that,
I've never seen it.
with 5 competent attorneys in the DA. Everybody we have right now, I think, is an excellent attorney. Some of them are younger, and that's how DA's offices work. You train them up. But I also feel like we have a good crew that's likely to stick around. I'm not anticipating, and I'm hoping to avoid any further gaps in being understaffed. So this is the first time since I've been here, starting in 2016, that I've seen us fully staffed at a level where our capabilities are what they need to be. So the salary increases. Obviously, I'm a fan of the DA and the ADA bill, but I understand that also adds a pretty significant chunk. I would let you know, I believe that we are one of only 4 judicial districts that are at the statutory minimums for the DA salary, and then the ADA salary is a brand new component, which has been in the works for quite a number of years. And I think it's important to have that. I think having a good, strong ADA is important, and they should be paid.
And that's just to give you guys a perspective. Our assistant district attorney that has a full caseload and helps manage the office with he's making $100,000. That's not even what you guys are paying your part-time county attorney. So just to keep that in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, for the ADA, it's definitely a needed raise. I think it's appropriate for the DA. I looked at what the salaries are around the state, and again, we have a different jurisdiction, so we're not the 18th. We're not huge. My duties are a little bit different. I'm running much more docket things and working on cases much more often than the Denver DA is. That being said, it is a massive undertaking, and there's constant attacks from all sides that the DA's office needs to be addressing every single day, and being fully staffed makes me more able to do those things while my attorneys are able to work on the caseload.
Right. And these were by statute too, that these both went up, so, or one was added and one went up, so.
Right, yeah,
basically,
so they
yeah.
increased the DA salary, and then they added the ADA salary, and
Yeah.
it was initially a little bit higher match from the state, and then they revised that. As it stands, the word I'm getting is that they're not anticipating anything else at this point, that this is what it'll be. And so it'll be the DA will make equivalent of a district court judge, and the ADA will make the equivalent of a county court judge. And then it's 80% from the state for the DA and 25% from the state for the ADA.
So that, that actually went down because it used to be, it was presented as 50/50,
It
correct?
started as 50%,
Yeah.
that's the revision they made, that, instead of, there was some effort to remove the ADA bill altogether in the legislature, and I think the compromise was to reduce the state contribution, which was unfortunate. I wish they hadn't done that, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Especially since it's statutory, so, I mean, the reality is it's going to happen. So as much as we can get contributed from the state, those guys.
You seeing any kind of funding cuts from the state? I mean,
We've seen it in our federal grants.
Yeah.
They reduced us substantially. The state, not necessarily.
Yeah, I can't really, Reese is probably a lot more on top of it. I rely on her a lot to help me with these financial things. This is also my first time going through the budget process. But from my perspective, state hasn't really changed much, but the grant money has changed a lot. And that's a significant part of how we fund our offices.
Yeah, again, just kind of perspective is we had over $200,000 in grants, and we have around $100,000 now. They reduced us substantially. We eliminated a position, and we cut one back to part-time. So that's how we've had to manage that as well. And we have one that we may lose, and we'll have to reevaluate again, and it may mean removing positions. So that's the reality we face.
I think it's the reality we all
Everyone
face.
does,
It's
yeah.
not,
Right.
it's not just you
I recognize
guys.
budgeting is like the best way.
And
I certainly recognize that. I think the other thing I'd mention is that I talk obviously a lot about the attorneys, that's the side of it that I deal with the most and that I know the most about, but, and I think all of you probably recognize how many other staff is required for us to run. It's the attorneys are a very small part of what it takes to make the DA's office function.
And we do try to, any grant opportunity that we can get, we do try to get. I think that that's something that can offset the county's burden. And I think it's really important for us to try to go for those opportunities because our entire diversion unit and victim witness unit is funded by grants. And so that's something that we try to do to offset as well. And we've applied, we got a new one to help make up the difference of a federal grant that we lost, and it'll help cover part of it. So we were able to get a new one for this coming year. So that's not reflected anywhere in here that we are trying to build any gaps that we lost. So.
Understand. Question? Question? Okay.
Well, thanks so much for your
Very
time,
good.
I appreciate it.
thank you
Thank
very
you all.
much.
And Clarissa, you write as small as this prints.
Yes, I did it. Sorry. If you want me to enlarge it, I can.
I will show her how to increase the font size when we get back.
Just transport it to mapping, and they'll
They'll
make it, they can make it bigger.
You're
yeah.
okay. You're okay.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you, guys. All right, administration, Robert, Travis.
So for the administration budget, the only change you're seeing on there right now is in the professional services line item. We are asking for an additional $25,000 to be able to conduct a position classification wage study next year for the county. And then the only other thing that isn't reflected on there is we, including commissioners, have been in discussion about potentially reclassifying a position in administration. And if that were to happen, that would be reflected in the permanent salaries and fringe benefits as well. But otherwise, we're staying flat on everything.
Okay. Question?
No.
Okay. Moving right along. Ms. Hargrave. Come on down. Oh, you have to win.
Yeah.
You have to answer the 3 questions correctly. And I get to choose the 3 questions. Hi, Lori.
Thank you.
Lori says she doesn't want to play this game. Okay, who wants to go first? Rob or Kelly?
Kelly, I pulled up the most recent, the budget you just sent over this morning.
Great.
So that's it.
Go ahead.
So the Department of Social Services budget is based almost entirely off of allocations. So it's what the state says we can spend within those ranges. We can go page by page or do the overall, whatever your preference is.
I think we can just do the overall because again, the only thing that Montezuma County contributes to social services is what we set in the mill. And I think that everybody needs to be aware of that most of this is state money. The contribution that we put in the mill right now, and because we gave back 0.25% last year, so we're at
1%.
So we're at just 1 instead of the
one.
0.85 or whatever it was. Okay.
Yes.
So, and public health, you'll notice this is kind of the same thing. There's only just a very little contribution that we, as Montezuma County, give. So I think if you just do the overall, I think we're good.
Great. So you can see the revenues at the top, the expenses. All of our allocations went up this year except for adult protection services. They did a 10% floor, which reduced our allocation, which is too bad because we don't have enough funding to cover adult protection services. Montezuma County's not the only one. And so as a result, we have moved a staff member into our cost savings, the admin pool. So it's covered differently through a different bucket. But this covers all of our staff, 44 staff in total through each allocation. Each allocation's a little different. I think this highlights one of the trends that I talked to certainly with both Robert and Travis is that we'll need to see a higher mill levy to cover the percent that you all are mandated by state to cover to offset those allocations. And we really need to think about building a reserve for the department. I don't know if you recently read the letter from Michelle Barnes at CDHS specifically about TANF, CCAP, and the child welfare allocation, because they're all running out of funding and it's not adequate for the work we're doing across the state. TANF hasn't seen an increase since 1998, but we continue to see an increase in expenses. We have COLA increases mandated every single year for the basic cash assistance that we're providing. We see extended timeframes to receive basic cash assistance due to the new legislation. So we have tons of pressures on TANF, CCAP, and child welfare. And Michelle Barnes wrote this letter basically indicating that county departments of social services have complete control over their budgets. That's not the reality. We are court ordered regularly and frequently by judges and child welfare to take custody of children, to pay for things that we wouldn't typically pay for. Some of those out-of-home placements cost $109 a day. That will blow a child welfare allocation very quickly. And so it's really important that when we have those bad years, right, those years where we have to overspend our allocations, that we have the funding available to cover those expenses. Some of those allocations, absolutely, when we hit the edge and we've spent our allocation, we can stop providing that benefit. Child welfare is not one of those. So it's not reflective of what it actually looks like in the counties.
Okay. You want to add to that or took away or anything, Rob?
No, I don't have anything to add other than that we have been in discussion about the mill levy piece.
Correct, which we adjust in January anyway. We just
Yeah.
have to figure out who we're gonna take a mill away from, or a half a mill, or a 1/4%, or whatever it is, because every time we do that, we adjust those, it takes away from one to give to another. And as you'll be aware here, that there are a lot of people asking for a lot of increases, so it's.
Now,
that's
you
what
do
it's
set
for.
it in January, but we'll have to have our plan in action
No, I know,
prior to that.
but we actually codify it in January.
You said it as part of, it's one of the budget resolutions, is you set the various mill levy rates, yeah.
Questions?
The only allocation within these that we will not spend to its entirety is our Colorado Child Care Assistance Program mill levy. We've never spent that entire allocation, not mill levy, excuse me, allocation. We don't have enough providers in the community to spend it, and so we're always under what we're allocated. So there will be cost savings within that one, but that's the only one.
This you may not be able to answer, but in their determination, like adult protection, do they use demographics of the state? Because we have a lot more seniors here than we do than a lot of other counties.
Yes.
They do?
Yes, it's one piece of many things that go into those equations. In addition, about this time last year, I found out it's based on the number, it also can be impacted by the number of referrals that we enter in the system. And so sometimes somebody will call us and say, hey, I have this concern about Bob, but it doesn't really meet the threshold for us to enter it into the system, so we don't. That can actually reduce your allocation. So our adult protection services is entering every single thing that comes in. Poverty rates is a piece of that, the age, rural. It's a big, long formula. But the reality is Montezuma County is not the only one that's underfunded. Across the state, adult protection is underfunded. Nobody has the adequate amount of staff to cover their adult protection needs. It is no different in Montezuma County. We have 2.5 caseworkers, 1 supervisor, and they are running all year long. They have high caseloads. They're doing lots of work. Ideally, we would have at least at a minimum a case aide for adult protection, but that's not within our allocation, and so they run ragged.
Anything else, Rob? Okay. I have nothing at this point in time. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna move right straight to, don't leave, because you got one more.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Senior services and transportation.
I think the best way to look at these are individual budgets. Excuse me.
You want senior services?
Yeah, that's fine. Just like extend those rows. So, senior services, this is the first year we've got, I think, a better estimate of numbers, and those are estimates. However, as you can see, we run into 2026 and we have a significant budget deficit. So we are looking at a variety of grants. There is a request for $20,000 from the general fund in senior services budget. We have requests to Town of Dolores, Town of Mancos, applying for the Town of Cortez grant. I met with Ann Schuetz Foundation August 14th. They did a site visit for a grant that I had applied for. So hoping to receive some of those revenues, but certainly without those, senior services will have to make programmatic cuts by the end of this calendar year to balance for next calendar year. The AAA funding has never been adequate to cover the needs of Montezuma County, and it was cut again this year. As you can see, there's a $10,000 reduction. The CSBG, the Community Services Block Grant, that's $16,000. That's on the chopping block at the federal level. We'll see if that comes down. I haven't heard one way or another, although I've asked. But that 16,000's questionable. It's not certain. I mean, long story short for senior services is it certainly has some deficits that I am working really hard to figure out how to fill.
So just so that everybody knows, senior services in Cortez, or the meals that we do, we provide those 4 days a week, right?
4 days a week in Cortez.
Yeah.
And twice in Dolores? And
3 times in Mancos.
And 3 times in Mancos. And have we heard back from the municipalities at all?
I am on the agenda for Dolores on October 27th, and they tell me that is adequate time for them to add something to the budget, I let them know what I was looking at, and they still let me on the agenda. Mancus, I have not heard back from. Cortez will only allow us to apply for their community grant, which is $5,000. And I'll tell you, I was honestly hoping for a minimum of 10 from each community, because we have 3 sites. It's 3 times more, right? We're paying rent in Mancus and Dolores. We have to pay for 3 sites food, 3 sites. So triplicates of everything that we're getting. 2 part-time cooks in both Mancus and Dolores, as well as a full-time cook in Cortez. I certainly think it's really crucial to maintain those centers for those community members. That's where they want to be. That's where they want to eat. And really trying hard to problem solve how to fill those gaps. I have not been able to get through to anybody in Mancus, although I have attempted and will continue to do so. Our Senior Services Advisory Board is planning a fundraiser. They're certainly invested in figuring out how to make it work.
Okay. Commissioner Copenhaver can bring it up on Wednesday when he's over there, and I might just mention it tonight myself while I'm in Dolores.
Great.
So, and you were asking 10 each?
That
was your request.
That was what I was hoping would be our request. I let Dolores know that when I do the math for everywhere where the food distribution is, et cetera, I let Dolores know that I would request 20. The worst they're going to tell me is no. So I sent that along. I will give the same request to Mancus. City of Cortez is facing their own budget constraints, it sounds like, and they have offered us to apply for the community grant, which is a total maximum of $5,000.
I just sent you Heather's direct line, so.
I've called Heather and I've emailed her. Alvarez?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to continue to work really hard to fill the gaps. I just don't have answers today.
Okay. All right, transportation.
Transportation's much easier. We received the 5311, this 171,000, so we did get an increase. AAA funding's accurate. The only decrease that you'll see on the top row is the decrease in Medicaid. We have seen Medicaid continue to dwindle this year, and I suspect that the same will happen next year as far as reimbursement for rides. So we have moved that down, but overall you can see our income will match our expenses throughout the year. Our revenue is good to go.
Question?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
They are trying to get another director posting the director for the AAA again. So that's going to be, I don't know when we'll get one in place.
Yeah,
it'll be
really nice to get one in place, I think.
Yeah.
AAA's going through time.
It seems like it has been for
It's been
quite a while now. It's been a long.
We had one for
journey.
a short period of time, but actually a permanent one's been, it's been over a year, I think, since,
2 years.
or, yeah, I don't know.
Been
It's
a
been a
long
while.
time.
It's been since I've been there. I think Ricardo came on 2 months after I took over senior services and was there for 9 months before he resigned, and now we're in this
Yeah.
period again without
Yeah.
someone. And I know things have been really difficult with sites in the AAA board, and so we're hoping that when somebody gets in there, it'll continue
Yeah.
to level things out for us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Travis, come on down. Veteran Services.
Good morning.
Good morning. Pretty straightforward and simple.
Pretty simple. I think the biggest change, so last year, the Commissioners authorized a part-time position. That position has been posted. I'm hoping to fill it in October. I'll continue that position next year. But along with that, in the past, the county's never applied for the Veterans Assistant Grant through the state of Colorado, so I'm planning on applying for that, which in July. And based off of the conversations I had with the state, there's no reason I shouldn't get it. They turned away money last year, and I'm gonna ask for 20,000, which will go into the budget, so.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to highlight is that the increase is fully covered by the grant that you're discussing.
Right.
And furthermore, we're working on that IGA with Dolores County, so that'll help offset
And,
and increase services
Right.
to our overall veterans.
correct, and, yeah, I read those emails, so it sounds like they'll have contributions to that too.
They'll have a contribution.
They'll just be working out of this office here locally instead of.
Well, that would also increase our, the stipend that we receive from the state, because that money will come back to Montezuma County as well for those hours worked. So,
Yeah, and when I got the request from Commissioner Stiasny, you know, I realized that it's tough to find VSOs specifically with the qualifications that they're putting on.
requirements are high,
Yeah, it's just, there's not that many people that,
want to do that,
well, want to do it or that are even available to do it.
right, right.
So I think it's becoming more and more difficult throughout the state. I mean, we hear that specifically on the southeast part of the state.
Yeah.
The rural communities.
They are really struggling.
Right. Well, in all reality, there's a lot of veterans in Dolores County that come through Cortez on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get them weekly. There's somebody from Dove Creek. Not so much Rico, but the Dove Creek side.
Yeah. Hopefully we can make something and they'll be able to contribute to it and it'll be a wash and we'll be able to take care of everything.
Right.
I had a friend up in the VA hospital in Grand Junction. And for those veterans to navigate that system, for somebody to help them is it's quite a task.
It is.
To know what systems apply, what don't, and
Right.
how to get through it.
Right.
And I know we're talking budget, but any veteran out there that's listening, if you're not in the system, you need to be, because you never know what's going to happen, and navigating those systems is immense.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
Did you tell us last time you met with us, you'd finished all your certifications too, Travis?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're,
Yeah, I'm completely accredited with the state, with the VA. And this part-time position that I'm gonna hire, I'm gonna require the same.
Okay.
That way they have all the access that I have.
Mhm.
And, because it does facilitate doing a better job. So. Plus, you have to have the accreditations in order to get the stipend from the state, so.
yeah.
Which
Okay.
covers about 30% of the salary, so.
All right. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Travis.
All right, James Dietrich, we have weeds and natural resources. Start with the weed program.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Okay, so within the weed program, we're generally trying to keep everything pretty much the same. With regards to salaries and fringe benefits, that would just be within, whatever commissioners decide on that. I'll move on to the cost share program. That is the one grant-funded piece that we've got. The state reduced that grant funding this year. We received $15,000, and so that's what I budgeted for next year. The state was saying that they think that is going to be a permanent reduction at the state level. So I just plugged that number back in, the same as we used last year. Again, we don't know if we'll even get that, but that's kind of the basis. Operating costs, I just left that the same. Education, I did increase that by 2,000, just in case Russell needs any kind of additional certifications. At this point, I think he's operating just fine, and we seem to be okay. If anything else comes up and he needs an additional certification, I've just got some money built in for that. I did increase the fuel because obviously fuel cost has gone up, and he's trying to get out and do as much outreach to folks on the ground as possible. So I increased that just a little bit. Telephone, all that's the same. Repairs and maintenance, I did increase that by $1,500. We've got, we primarily use that one ATV, and that ATV has got some issues that appear
James,
that we're gonna need.
I think we're looking at some of the comparisons to 24. Could you, for the repairs and maintenance, could you just give us what your actual budget number for 26 was? Because we had 2,000 from our previous meeting.
Okay, I believe that's what I have.
Okay.
2,000, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an increase of 800.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, so-
Wasn't that ATV, didn't we just buy that in like 2020? Is that's the new ATV, right, that you're talking about?
Yeah, the new ATV, yeah. And you know, primarily it's issues with the pump and tanks and stuff like that
Oh.
on it. And we've got a crack in the frame we're gonna have to deal with, so, and also some tires and things like that, so. As far as the travel and such, I just left that the same. We don't anticipate any travel unless you need some kind of a certification or something like that, so I left that the same. And then the chemicals, I've left that the same. We're working through everything that we have in stock, and we'll use that up first. Next year, we'll have to do an evaluation and see if we need to increase that some. But right now, it looks like we're covering just the bare minimum that we need to cover, and that's so far been adequate for that. So I guess that covers it for the noxious weeds. We're out of all the other grant-funded programs that we've been working with on that. So CDA is the last grant-funded piece of that we've got.
Okay. Question?
No.
All right. Natural resources.
Okay, so it's sort of the same with natural resources. I've just kept everything the same, straight across the board. I've got $2,000 budgeted for operation. I've got the telephone in there. Miscellaneous for 1,000, and dues, training, and travel at 1,000. I've barely dipped into any of that this year, and don't anticipate dipping into much of it for next year either. So that one's virtually all just going to stay exactly the same.
Okay. Very good.
Any other
Thank you, sir.
questions?
No.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
IT, I thought I saw you come in. Huh? Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know what questions you might have. There's still some unknowns that are not set in stone yet because we have some software that may go away.
I guess that was my biggest
Some
question
that might be
is,
coming in, which, you know, we've been having discussion. I'm still trying to put together all the numbers, so I just don't have them all yet.
Jim, I was just going to say that Jim's working with all of the departments to make sure that any of the software is being used. If it's not being used, that we should get rid of it. If there's a more efficient way to do it and switch things out, then we should do that. So we're working through that process.
and I think that was the biggest question because sometimes it becomes
Oh,
old or outdated or people are just not using it and we're still paying for it. And this
Yeah,
stuff
so
is super.
One of the things that's
spendy.
really gonna help us going forward, and it's already starting to, is, you know, when I transitioned over to Office 365, I knew that there were gonna be some good positives for us in some ways, but I'm finding there's a lot more that we're gonna be able to do with this that may look like it's going to start eliminating other softwares that we're having to use to do the exact same thing. And if it's all tied together into one, it just makes it easier to support and do. So we're still working through that, obviously, because we've only been on it for, what, 5 months or so now, give or take. So it takes time, but we're working through it. And, yeah, we're starting to find that we'll be able to eliminate a lot of stuff. It's got a great planning program. There's just so many. And we may be able to eliminate some space that was needed because of OneDrive and SharePoint and some other things. So, again, it's just very difficult until we know where we actually stand. So I am working on that. Just don't have it all together yet.
Do you have any idea how many platforms we're running in Montezuma County?
A lot. But they're all, I can tell you that we have just about eliminated anything that's unnecessary. I mean, what we have is necessary. Unfortunately, technology just keeps advancing. Software keeps advancing. A great way to look at that is what Microsoft has done to us, again, as usual. But they came out with, we all had Windows 10 for a long time, and now Windows 10 support ends in October. That's it. There's no more security updates for it unless you want to pay for it. So now you have to have Windows 11, which is great, except that it takes specific hardware to put Windows 11. We have I don't know where we're at now. Isaac's been working through the list. I think we're at 51 computers right now that there's no way. They've got to be replaced. They cannot take Windows 11. The hardware's not enough. So it's it just grows so fast, and you got to try to keep up with it without spending a ridiculous amount of money. It's hard. But we try to, everything's integrated better and better and better every year from what it was the year before, which helps. Tyler's a great example. Tyler's one of our more expensive softwares across the board. But when I first started, when I came over here, the three of them didn't even talk to each other. So we have that happening, and now that reduces the labor needed to deal with all the reports and the treasure side of things and all that. So, yeah, a lot.
Okay, so 11% is what you're basically forecasting at this point in time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Rob? Nope. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Jail, sheriff, come on down. There's enough chairs for everybody. You guys can come on down.
Good morning.
And Sheriff, I have any of your additional documents, like the green sheets and things, available if you want me to pull them up. So just let me know.
That's fine, whatever
Okay.
you would like to do.
Sheriff, you want to start with the jail or sheriff side first?
With the jail first, that's what we did with Clear.gov. As you can see, what we requested was just a proposal for the 2026 from 2025. We did request in the permanent salaries an additional 4 FTEs. We're at a total of 27 in the jail now, I believe. Yeah, on the jail side. We're at the point now is a total of 60 FTEs with the jail and the sheriff's office combined. We've lost several in detentions and two on the sheriff's side, just within the last couple of months. And we're using the certified officers that we have in the detention center to transfer to the sheriff's side when we can. And we did hire one detention deputy just 2 weeks ago, so to help replace that loss. It's not a large increase at all, but we're just trying to keep up with the costs. Having to do more transports, that's one of the biggest ones. Even though we've gone in with the Western States Coalition for sharing transports and stuff, hopefully that is going to reduce our costs as far as distance traveled and whatnot. So that's a cost share that our cost cut that we're looking at, trying to partake in. And we've had only one transport, I think, so far with Western States. Yeah. So it seems to be working. It's sheriff's offices throughout the Western states that are sharing with this. And is it Jefferson County or Boulder County that's in charge of that? Boulder County, yeah, sheriff's office. That helps a bunch for everybody. Training, we've asked for an increase because we've got new jail standards that are coming up that we're having to meet. And we're doing a lot of that in-house. Some of it is online. There are two costs for capital that were increased into the sheriff's budget, and that would be
I think this was for the jail, right?
Yeah,
the
15. Do you want me to switch over onto the sheriff's?
No, I just thought I'd mention it, then when we go to the sheriff's side, you'll see that. It's just to include the 15 replacement of the radios that are well
Correct,
outdated.
but that was for the jail, right?
That's for the jail, yes.
The radios were capital items for the jail,
Right.
not the sheriff's side. Okay. So I was just trying to keep it to the jail because I have some questions for the jail
Yeah.
that we had asked if you're done, Steve.
Yeah, we don't have a capital outlay in the jail budget. That's why it's over on the sheriff's side.
Right, but I think when we talk,
There-
we could add that.
There's
to
not
the-
what he's saying, there's not a capital line item
Line
on the
item.
jail side, so
Yeah.
he included all of them over on
Oh,
the sheriff's
gotcha.
side. Yeah.
But 15 of those were for those radios,
Yes.
or 15 radios, I'm sorry,
The-
for
the-
capital on that side.
The one thing I did want to highlight for the commissioners is that for the additional staffing, all of those positions were calculated at current staffing rates. So obviously that would, any changes related to collective bargaining would adjust the salaries, not just for current positions, but for any new positions as well.
Right. So one of the questions that we'd asked the first time that we'd met, and I've never heard back, and I don't know if you guys had any conversations about this, but for the kitchen services, we were looking at that. One of the questions that we had asked was the cubic feet of space, because that sounded like it was a big issue that we couldn't provide the cubic feet of space.
I reached out to the person that came down.
Turn that mic on.
Sorry.
He said that each pallet is 80 cubic square feet. And all he would tell me was that our walk-in and our cooler would be enough to handle that. They do bi-weekly, buying. So every 2 weeks, you would get 80 cubic feet of food, which I don't think that the walk-in and the cooler, I don't think he really looked at it. I don't think we have enough space, even dry storage, for that. But I'd have to go measure it. I did do some pros and cons to the kitchen, to the Summit Correctional Services. Some of the pros, and I did put page numbers on it, they do provide a lot of training for the staff.
They would provide staff uniforms, and any product that we have left over, they would buy. And of course, they have the responsibility for the menu and the nutritional value, which takes that load off us. Some of the cons, I think that they're gonna come in and wanna have us buy them the chemicals they wanna use, which could cost more than what we use now. All the equipment, cosmetic changes, equipment repairs and maintenance are gonna still be the responsibility of the county. I think they're gonna come in and want some new equipment in there, like dishwasher, some of the big mixers that we use and stuff like that. Knives and everything need to be tethered to the countertops, and you'll have to lock up all the chemicals. So I think there's gonna be some cosmetics, and my suggestion would be before you bring it in, have them come and do their assessment first and tell them what the changes that they're gonna wanna need before, and see if the cost of it, because I think you're gonna have some cost in changing the kitchen itself.
And I definitely would understand that. I mean, if they're gonna change something, it comes with it obviously comes
Yeah,
with a
comes
cost.
with a
But
cost.
I guess that was the question going back to that. We don't know then. We still don't know. We don't have an evaluation from them?
He didn't give me a direct answer. I have the email he sent me. That's all he could tell me, was that each pallet is 80 cubic square feet, and it comes with 2 pallets bi-weekly. So, and I don't know the food. Most of it seems to be frozen food. I didn't see in the menus where there was any real fruits or vegetables in it. And if you want this, I can give you the page
You can
numbers
scan
and
it and
stuff.
send it
Okay.
later. Vicki.
I know they do want locking cages installed for all chemicals, cleaning supplies, and at the cost of the county. All the small wares of the kitchen will be the responsibility of the county, which if they want to change the measuring tools that we have, that'll be at our cost. So just some of that, I can see it.
But that would be a one-time cost. So that
Well,
would
and
be
if something breaks, we'll be responsible for
Yeah.
paying for it.
Okay.
Is that dishwasher on a lease program, or do we
No.
own that?
No, we owned
own
it
them all.
from Brady. We got
Okay.
it from Brady. But I know with Durango, La Plata County they had them buy them a new dishwasher at the one they requested. Chemicals for it, they like to have them, they would have certain chemicals that they like to use, and so that's what they would suggest we buy. So that I could see where it would cost us quite a bit more, but then again, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, which ones they would want to use. That assessment would come from somebody coming down, assessing the kitchen to begin with, and then, telling you what they want changed.
I know my lease program, they provided the chemicals.
Yeah, typically.
Brady right now,
with
we.
that.
we
And
supply
monthly
them.
service. They're there every month to check and make sure
And
everything's.
they might not want a lease program.
Yeah.
They say for efficiency and stuff like that, they have a way to do certain things. That's kind of what I would suggest, is to have them come down and assess it first before you make a decision.
And then the radios, I think you guys said that they were out, or basically like anything else that's electronic. It seems like we're washing 7 years out. I
Our
mean,
radios are
I hate to
outdated.
say that, but that kind of seems like what's happening. But
It's hard
those
to
will
get
go down
batteries for 'em.
capital side on the other
Mhm.
side, so that pretty straightforward. Okay. All right. Next page.
Okay. On the sheriff's side, again, it was, additional, a request for 4 FTEs. There's no part-time salaries. One of the big things was to ask for an increase in the scene and event security line item, because we're very limited in that dollar amount that we have in the line item to actually perform any of the security requests that we get annually.
A lot of it is at the fairgrounds. In fact, it's the Ute Mountain Ute Rodeo is the one that is the biggest, and that's the most costly. So I've had to deny several of the others just because we didn't have the funding or the people to actually perform those security events. Fuel costs could remain the same. It looks like that we're going to be down and be able to make it through the year with what we have budgeted this year. The big thing was the vehicle expense. I've had to do a request transfer to transfer 10,000 out of operating line item and 5,000 out of the professional into that, just to get us through, hopefully, to the end of the year. The amount that we have in there doesn't seem to be covering those vehicle expense and maintenance costs. There was an increase in the training and asking for a separate line item for the investigative travel line item, requesting about 10,000 in that. That's why that amount is in there. There are new training requirements that are going to be coming up for 2026, and that's going to be a cost that a lot of it we do with in-house. However, it takes training costs to get certified instructors for a lot of those essential trainings that we have with people moving and leaving. Software was increased slightly because of the cost of the Tech 84, which is, again, this is detentions and the sheriff's office combined. The warranty went out, the 5-year warranty went out with that, and that has actually saved us by having that expensive cost for the replacement of parts and the inspection that has to be done annually because of the x-ray machine. That cost also comes out of the maintenance for our RMS database software program, and especially what's out of records now with the reporting and redacting. It has actually saved a lot of time by having those programs in there, that the records section can actually redact those reports when those core requests or requests for reports come in. There was a $4,000 increase into Lexipol to include their training and trying to put everything all in one, like with Axon. So Lexipol is moving toward a training and FTO program that is part of the Lexipol program for our policies and whatnot. That's been in there. We have, I did eliminate the ELPRs that were in there. There were 5 of them in there. It cost us about $15,000, so that was eliminated this year. So there's a cost savings within the software line item this year. Let's see. When we go down to, again, the capital is going to be what was increased because of the jail radios and the request for a transport vehicle for the jail, and that we put together a proposal for a 10-year vehicle program in that. That is what that's what was controlled in that. It was a large leap, but it's something that's going to actually save us a lot of money in tax dollars down the road.
And in this capital, as I started when we went through the commissioner's budget, that the The request was also made for the gravel at the landfill?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was like a $35,000 request. I went down and
And
I
that's a
did
guess.
do what I said I would do, is measure it. And basically, we can do that for 10 grand.
Good.
It's not that long, but I only figured it at 14 feet wide, because it
Yeah.
didn't look like, I mean, that, you can still pass on that, but it's mostly a one-lane road. So that would have to get moved into capital too. So that was already talked about. The big issue, or the big item here, is this vehicle and this, which is basically a detention vehicle,
Detention transport.
detention
vehicle, yeah.
transport.
Yes.
And obviously, we're gonna look at some options, because we've gotta explore all the options with this kind of a capital item.
Yep.
And we've had conversations back and forth about that.
Understand. Okay.
But I think that was the last thing that we had talked about, was for capital, was for that road down there.
Yes. Yes.
So the SAR addition this year, I guess, I'm looking at my notes here, but I don't have anything written down. Last year we didn't fund anything because they're 501c3. What's the addition, or did I miss something?
No, I think the sheriff's request was to bring that funding back to the search and rescue, to include insurance and vehicles. Am I correct, Sheriff?
What's that?
You wanted to bring this search and rescue program back under the sheriff's office versus them being a
Yes,
501c3?
Exactly. I've asked for 10,000 in there to cover the search and rescue costs for fuel and other expenditures during search and rescues, because right now we're not getting anything, and I'm having to do everything that we can to when we have these search and rescues happen. I also wanted to mention that in the professional services, I had included the peace officer mental health, $20,000 in there, and that actually was obtained by a grant through the Colorado Department of Health this year. So that's a reduction in that request for that proposal for that.
Okay. Other revenues. What are we still looking at?
I'm sorry, what?
Other revenues? Any other revenues that you guys are on the grant side, or?
Well, I mean, when you talk about revenues, when you're talking about the request that we made for the traffic enforcement unit,
I'm talking about all of it. Yeah,
All of it?
but that one you can start with, because I do have my,
yeah.
so that was the 2 FTEs for that one, on
Right,
that side of
two
that.
vehicles,
Okay.
Yes.
And then we were supposed to get back some more information on that too. Have we gotten it, anything back on, or?
Unless the undersheriff has it. The data from the model traffic code enforcement.
So that was, the numbers, the historical numbers over the last 3 years were included in that proposal of what we had seen citations written into the model traffic code after for the last prior 3 years.
Up to 2021.
From, yeah, it'd be
21,
21, 22, and
22 and
23.
23.
Or, excuse me, 22, 23, and 24.
Okay.
Would you describe for me what a traffic enforcement unit is, what it does?
Yes, so a traffic
I
unit.
got an idea, but
Okay, so a traffic unit would be comprised of 2 FTEs, and their sole job is to enforce the model traffic code within the county. We have seen an uptick in both fatal accidents over the last 2 years, and probably one of our biggest complaints that we receive is speeding infractions on county roads. This would then allow us to dedicate 2 people to solely enforce, do traffic enforcement within the county, focusing primarily on county roads.
And that's 7 days a week.
Yeah, that would kind of, that helps us twofold. It gives us a presence in the county, on county roads where currently, just due to our call volume, we don't see a ton of presence there. That also would help solve one of our biggest complaints is from the public is problem drivers. And hopefully then cause a reduction in both fatal accidents and accidents in general. And those would all be written under the model traffic code. Yeah, and yeah, thanks. Another upside to that is we would hopefully see also a reduction in driving under the influence drivers, both under the influence of drugs and alcohol.
Thank you.
I think that was all my notes, unless you guys had anything else to add from our original conversation. Okay. All right. Questions on that one, gentlemen?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you all.
Okay. Break. Okay. We'll recess for 5 minutes.
Okay. Probably take me that to get there.
out of recess.
All right, we are out of recess, and we are going to move right along to Road and Bridge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So not really too many changes on the road and bridge budget this year. I did ask Robert for an estimated amount to change fringe benefits. And so that's the increase that you see there on that line item. And we cut those expenses to cover that out of other line items. So we're not asking for an increased budget. Robert, would you put up the tire green sheet, please? So this one we increased by $8,000 because tires have just really got out of control in their cost. And again, I covered this line item from a different line item, so we're not asking for an increase. Professional services is another line item that I increased. Last year, our fee for the budget went up $5,000 for road and bridge. So I haven't received the audit for this year, the fee for this year, but I'm hoping that the $6,000 would cover that for our audit fees. Miscellaneous and safety is where we purchase all the safety vests and gloves and glasses out of, and those items have also increased greatly in cost. The special roads budget, I prepared this before we knew that we weren't going to be able to do the 25-184 project this year. So those funds that I took out of there were supposed to cover that budget. So we'll probably have to do some adjusting there.
Yeah,
because it won't.
Those funds won't be expended in '25,
Right.
so we'll likely have to carry into the '26. But you won't be spending it twice. You'll only be spending it either in '25 or '26.
26.
Right.
Because we're not even going to go to, well, we'll go to ad probably this year, but not,
Yeah.
won't spend anything until 26.
So, but at the point that we had to prepare this budget, we thought that it was going to be done this year, so I
Okay.
lowered that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions?
No. Mm-mm. Appreciate
I
it.
guess not.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now fleet.
Yeah. So again, I had asked Robert for the increase for benefits, and that's the only increase on this budget. And I took it out of other line items. I decreased other line items. I also decreased this budget by the 10% that we were asked to decrease it. So it's pretty straightforward.
Question?
No.
Okay. Seeing none.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You are good to
Have a
go.
good
Thank
day.
you. All right, public health. Laurel. Who? Planning?
We'll just go with planning real quick. It's separate.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was just going by my agenda. I had planning at the very last.
That's
Like,
what it
the
says.
end of the day, like 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? Oh, see ya.
That's what it says right here, 3:10. Okay, we'll go with planning.
Okay,
We're gonna work opposite,
sorry.
which means Laurel, you're last. All right, go ahead.
Basically,
Our budget has not changed. It's going to be straightforward. Nothing is changing.
All right.
That's easy.
That's too easy. You're good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
See you next year.
Okay. Public health.
I do, I got it way down there. Man, air conditioner's working overtime today.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I think, just a couple of things. We're still navigating funding from federal and state levels right now, getting news here and there, ups and downs. So we're still kind of waiting. We've got some irons in the fire, so we might be asking to add some funding if we are awarded that. I think pretty much the only thing that we increased was our salary and our fringe lines, which at this point we've actually changed our salary line. So we're kind of adjusting. We adjust according to our funding. I think probably the most important thing to know is, the county's contribution to public health is the per capita every year out of the general fund. And that's $1.50 per person. If we don't have the funding, then we don't have the FTE. That's kind of how we operate.
Yeah.
I think right now we're pretty lucky because our general fund budget is in a strong place and has been, that we're able to take the time to adapt to see what's coming down the pipeline on a federal level, state level, which ultimately affects the state level as far as what the current administration sees as important, and we're just kind of waiting it out and doing what we normally do. So chronic disease, we're really waiting for that funding. Right now it's tied to tobacco funding, so we might be dipping our toes back into that so that we can access some of that chronic disease funding. But again, we're still waiting. So let's see. We did get word last week that some of our federal funding was being released, so we did budget for that accordingly. We were a little bit weary that we might not get that, but it has been released. However, at the same time, the state then turned around and said they were cutting their budget. So we'll wait to see how that works. I guess the only other thing is that we're working with Dolores County right now and figuring out how we can support them. But they are financially supporting us for the time that we spend with them, which we did not allocate into our budget at the time that we had to write our budget, so we may need to change that. And I'm not sure what that will look like in 2026. So.
I'll talk to these commissioners here in the very near future, but I see them struggling more and more because of what the state is doing.
Yeah.
And it just makes it harder and harder for them to operate,
Yeah.
period, or even find the employees to even do the job. So
that's
thank you
big-
guys. I know that we
big
read all
if.
those emails of helping them, but they are contributing to the funding for it, so we're not picking up the tab.
No, we're
So-
not. We've changed how we track our time so that we're tracking all the time that we spend with Dolores County, and they are reimbursing us for our time, mileage,
Which
all of
is,
that.
which is what we should be doing, is getting
Absolutely.
reimbursement for anybody else that we're helping out, so.
Yeah, and they're really easy to support,
Yeah.
so.
And I appreciate it, and, I know that they're struggling because of that, but, just like we talked about for the VSO, they're in the same situation for that, too.
Yeah, and there's no reason for them to struggle when we're right here and we can help them. And
No.
it's not taking too much time. Our nurse is going over there once a month and doing vaccine clinics for them and supporting their staff. So we're working through some of those details. And yeah, they're easy to support. They're a great bunch of people over there.
A lot of their residents do quite a bit of business here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, like I said earlier, you know, we only fund public health per capita other than obviously we provide the buildings and the,
Right.
I mean, we provide a lot of space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contributions that we make that are not just a dollar value, but it's still only, it's less than $40,000 a year. Or
Correct.
basically right at $40,000 a year that comes out of the county's coffers to fund public health. So just to make that clear to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's where we're at.
all right. Thanks, Laurel.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Clerk is not here. We'll move down to the treasurer.
Good morning.
You guys need a printout?
No.
You need a printout? Okay, I didn't think so.
But you need to pull that closer to your,
Yeah, that's close enough.
people outside have to hear you.
Yeah.
Outside where?
Outside of
All
this
of our-
room.
All of our
Oh,
19
all over
members were
broadcasting, huh?
citizens watching, yes, 19.
Okay, so I didn't change anything salary-wise, fringe, I just upped that, based on probably what Robert, I don't know if I did or if I just guessed. So that may be adjusted a bit.
Those
Yeah,
will
they're-
adjust for all the departments. You
Okay.
you had just put in flat numbers for now, but we'll adjust all those to match.
That sounds good. So then on my operating, that actually went down a little bit because I don't have a printer to purchase this year. And, that Tyler online software thing, we're changing, we're still in the middle of that, and so I won't have that expense. And postage, I propose that will go up, so I gave it another 1,000, no change on travel. And nothing changed, I don't think. I actually went down a little on general office for public trustees, so.
You had originally included that cash vest software
I did.
in your operating line, and as we discussed at our meeting, that will, assuming it is approved, would end up in the software budget.
Okay.
It's one of the items that Jim knows about,
Yes,
so.
and
Yeah, that's the only change there. That's why that's showing plus 13,937 that's the cash
yeah,
vest.
sorry, I
Yeah.
adjusted on my side, but I didn't give you anything new there, so.
Okay.
Any questions? All
No,
right.
ma'am.
No,
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
You do the
you
same.
too. Leslie, assessor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, for the assessor's office for 2026, I did include, for my salaries, I did put in a 5% increase. But that's just in there as a request. Fringe benefits, just per whatever Robert had told me to increase that by. Operating expenses stayed the same. My professional services went down about
29,398.
Yeah, 29,400. Postage is down for this year because it's not a reval year, so I won't have that in my budget for 26. Maintenance contract stayed the same. I did increase my miscellaneous expense back up to 5,000. It was taken down to 4,000 last year, and that again is just a request. It's not a must. Dues, travel, and training stayed the same. Fuel costs stayed the same. The only thing that increased for me was the capital fund due to the Eagle View software.
Mhm.
That'll be
Okay.
purchased for every year from now on. Other than that, everything pretty much stayed the same.
Which was mostly the Eagle View, which we've heard about it, so it's not anything new.
Nope, last flyover is the 20th of this month, and then it'll be installed. We have partial view, but it's not fully into our system yet. The fire really put a damper on us getting our last
I
shots.
can imagine.
Yeah, they tried, and they rejected it twice because
Can't
didn't
see anything.
So they do have it scheduled for the 20th of this month to do our final flyover so we can see that area. It's pretty. Took a while to get it all done. They were expecting it to be done end of July, but obviously we had no control over that.
Nobody thought about smoke. We were thinking
No. And
leaves and everything else, but no smoke.
Yeah, and they said, they did do it twice and they tried and it was, you
Yeah.
couldn't see anything. So at least I appreciate that they're not just doing it and then we're paying for junk. So
Okay,
that's where we're at.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CSU Extension is not here. Coroner is here.
I'm going to stand up.
I don't blame you.
I've been sitting a little bit. I guess everybody's looked at it. Operating expenses did go up another 500. Just things are increasing, using more body bags. I've been trying to use more liners, which are cheaper, but the types of calls, I can't use liners. I have to use body bag. Fuel went down 1,600. And then the deputy pay did go up. I was wanting to give them a 50% or 50 cent per hour raise. They haven't had a price increase for on-call since I've been in office, so.
Okay.
And I have that green sheet if you want me to pull, if you want me to pull it up, I can pull it up for you.
It's if you guys want to see it.
I've already seen it.
Okay.
What kind of debt service we have out there?
Pardon?
What are we paying debt for?
It's the vehicle.
For the vehicle? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Question? Okay, all right.
Okay. You guys have a good day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jordan.
Emergency management is not in here. GIS, we'll go to GIS. Mel, I promise I'll get to you next, just because you're in here.
So mine remained essentially flat. Of course, the board will decide what they're going to do with any cost of living for salaries and the benefits. But the maintenance contracts, I just added 10% because we don't get our invoice until the fall for the next year. So I added that just to cover any potential increases. We'll obviously adjust that down to what that actual invoice winds up being for the year. And those are the only changes.
Questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Doug,
Straight-
before you go, do you get to integrate some of that Eagle View stuff that we got at the assessor's office?
Have we received anything yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
We haven't. They're waiting for
Yeah,
the
they're
final
waiting, but
flyover.
Do you get to integrate that into your mapping?
We will,
Okay.
yeah, if we receive data disk, then we'll bring it on our servers, cache it, or depending on how it was delivered.
Great.
So I'll wait to hear from Leslie about that.
Thank you.
All right. That'll be good.
Thanks. All right, Mel, landfill.
Yeah, I don't think ours changed a whole lot. There is one line item that we are mandated by the state every 5 years to do for the methane testing, which we have to do by March 31st of 2026. That cost is in the budget for that. And then depending on what the state decides on Rule 31, may change my entire budget. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we're operating like we always do. I think I put a 3% cost of living increase for the employees in there. Depends on what the board wants to do on that.
Just for clarity, that methane testing, it's the additional $60,000 in the professional services line item.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's due to the expansion of the landfill that's mandated every 5 years. If Rule 31 goes into effect, they're talking about doing that every other year. So we'll see.
Do you want to let the commissioners know where we currently stand with Rule 31 and the potential ramifications, possibly in December?
There hasn't been a decision made on that yet. What I'm seeing at this point, based on our size, they've changed it a lot from the original version they wrote. They came out with a red line version. Changed a lot of it, but what I'm seeing is going to force us into the monitoring portion of it, which will mean probably another employee, all the equipment to do it, and constant reporting to the state. I don't know yet. They don't know yet. They're not going to make a decision until December, middle of December. I think they postponed Rule 31 too. Because they got so much pushback from everybody in the state, they couldn't make a decision 2 weeks ago, so they postponed it till the middle of December. But we're probably definitely going to be in the monitoring stage of that based on our size. Hopefully, if we can keep the methane down. I've already made plans with the engineers to correct some issues to help mitigate methane at the landfill. I don't know what all is going to happen yet, but we'll see.
Do we monitor off-site for methane?
So we monitor the entire landfill every quarter. The engineers come down and do it, and then the 2 quarters that they don't, I do it, and we have to submit that to the state all the time.
Where I'm going is naturally occurring methane off those coal beds.
No, I haven't. You know, our monitoring that we're doing now is just a handheld device,
Okay,
and you're not going to find it with the wind.
yeah.
The problem is this new issue that they're going to be bringing out. It's a whole new system. And I've been told that the instrument to do this is over $20,000. We'll have to divide that landfill up into 25-foot grids and do a daily monitoring on it. Yeah, it's crazy. So this tier 2 testing hopefully will help us, because we have very little methane down there. There's some in the old landfill. There's some obviously in the active landfill that we're doing. And what I'm trying to do now is put extra layers of dirt on it beyond what the state is requiring us to do for intermediate cover to reduce what it's actually emitting. Hopefully that'll help and keep us out of the gas collection system longer. But I would say within the next 4 or 5 years, that landfill will be in the gas collection system. So if we can keep the methane down and keep it low, that was the other issue with Rule 31. They went way above and beyond what the EPA requires to install a gas collection system. That's what's brought on this big fight with the state. Little landfills like us can't absorb that cost.
Right.
And run it.
Well, I think that we've made it very clear to our representatives and senators here that we've talked to specifically that if the state, which it's not a legislative rule, but they give CDPHE all of the power to create these things, that they have to fund it.
Yeah.
So that conversation will continue to go. I'll see Bobby in the next couple days, and I'll kind of see what her take is on it, because I know that Mesa County is probably at the lead of this, and I know that she's doing a lot with it. So I'll see her in the next couple days anyway.
Okay.
But
Jennifer runs that landfill up there. She's been very helpful with the rest of us smaller counties, because they actually did put in a gas collection system up there. In fact, I think it's the only one on the western slope.
they do have one.
Yep.
So.
So that's kind of where we're at on that.
So I think something that Senator Simpson had asked me, he'd reached out to me, and I think I sent the email to Travis, but basically, we really need to come up with a cost a true number. If we have to have the FTE, if we have to have all this other stuff, we kind of have to anticipate a real cost so that I can give him a real number instead of just,
I think all that, I can go back through the documents from all these meetings with the Rule 31, but Jennifer Richardson has put together a cost based on their cost, which would be, I mean, we'd mirror it
Yeah.
almost identical, and I think that paperwork's down there on my desk.
so if you can find that way I can at least send it back to him because he's wanting to really, it helps fight a battle if you actually, if you have a real number. So if you can get that to us, I'd appreciate it so I can get that sent to help with
Sure.
this fight of talking to these guys. So I'd appreciate it.
Yep. we can
All right.
wait for that.
Thank you, Mel.
Is that it?
Thank you.
That's it. EM. Mr. Disaster.
Morning, Commissioners.
How are you?
Young man. Budget's the same, 50 grand taken off. We found another source for that mitigation plan, so that was that funding. So that's off of there. Pretty much the same.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, and I added a little extra, you know, for the salary thing.
Yeah.
But
Right, and we'll make all those adjustments to salaries and fringe when we get that. When
Right.
we decide what we're gonna do.
Make some adjustments. Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Good with all of it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Fairgrounds.
All right. Well, we did about the same, kind of the same thing across the board. We didn't really change anything as far as our operating stuff. A couple notes that we did do, if you look at the permanent salaries, we did kind of adjust that where like the manager's salary or my salary would be 50% paid out of Fairgrounds and 50% out of our conservation trust, which we had 25/75 before.
Yeah, the discussion that we had was about bringing in the revenue, basically spending the revenue in the fairgrounds line, in the permanent salaries, bringing over enough of the department head salary to basically cover the revenue that comes in, rather than continually spending conservation trust funds for that. Spend the revenue in the general fairgrounds line and then retain conservation trust funds for larger capital projects and things like that.
Which we're now doing that. Where previously
Exactly.
we weren't doing
That's
that.
that shift
why we had
from
to shift the
that's why
75% to
the salary
CPI.
goes up on the one side and down on the other side.
Correct, yes. And then the other portion of it that kind of changed a little bit is right there at the capital outlay, the 17,000. What that is we need a new piece of equipment out there. Our Black Widow has gotten kind of wore out, and we allocated 12,000 for that. And I'd kind of like to replace that piece of equipment if we can. Then another additional 5,000 on there, just for, there's a possibility of us being able to do a fairgrounds master plan at some point next year. That's generally like a $30,000 expense or so, but we can kind of get it done through a college deal with GOCO, and it only costs us about $4,000 or $5,000 is our estimation. So that's what we kind of allocated into that line item. And everything else is about the same as last year. So.
Question?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you,
Very
guys.
good.
Yep.
Emily, CSU Extension.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
With our budget, I think we kept it pretty simple. The only change that I requested is in the professional services. So that's the portion of Tierney and my salary that CSU requests. And so that was a requested increase there. Otherwise, we kept everything the same. And then Rob will update salaries, so we have
Yeah.
have that, but it should be pretty consistent with what we have, so. I don't know, are there any other questions?
No?
Okay.
These are simple.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
trying
I
to be
like-
simple.
I
Thanks,
like
guys.
simple.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maintenance. The only other person I see in here. Right on time.
Morning. So, I just put a 5% increase in the salaries depending on what goes on. And then there's an increase on the telephones to add one more person on for using their phone. The maintenance contracts I reduced because of the last like 2 years of what we actually spent. That's mainly, the biggest expense is the janitorial, and it goes out after we do our budget, so it's kind of hard to guess, but the last 2 years, we haven't spent what was in what we allocated for it, so I reduced that some. And then transportation, I reduced that a little bit because we put some flooring in there the year before, or this year, so. And then we just reduced some utilities. The biggest one was for the annex, because we, Annex 1, we paid off that solar lease payment this year, so we won't be having that next year. But the rest of them, it was just a small decrease, just kind of based on what we've been paying out.
So for capital, you don't have anything in there for capital? Are we, all the other capital maintenance stuff, are we putting that? Or are we just gonna, that'll come out of our capital, overall capital?
Well, I think we still need to throw some numbers in there, because didn't you have something with the air conditioning, heating system in this building, and?
I haven't got anything solid back from them yet, and then the parking lot assessments, I haven't received anything from Ty. I emailed him.
I think they were supposed to
They'll be here
do that tomorrow.
tomorrow,
Right?
and give us an idea, and then whatever the commissioners decide they want to do with the options, then we can put it out to bid.
So then we can add those projected capital at that time? Because, I mean, some of that stuff, we've got to take care of.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
losing stuff.
25 years of not maintaining it, it's going to fall apart. So, okay. All right, so those will be added, or we can add those at that point in time. All right. Okay. Gosh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Straightforward. So the only one we don't have today is our clerk and recorder, and she's in a meeting.
She's in a meeting. Hers is pretty simple, commissioners, if you want us to present it for her.
I think, Rob, go ahead and present it. I think we're here, that way we have them all out.
Yeah, the only major change on the county clerk side is the reduction of the ERTB expense that should be expended this year. We did keep $65,000 in there just in case it crosses into the first quarter of next year, but the hope is that it will either be expended this year or very early next year. So we kept a little bit in there. That's the only major change. On the elections is higher because it's a bigger election year. Yeah. And that one is kind of cyclical. You can see it's much more similar to the 24 budget than the 25 budget.
Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. And I don't have any questions, but if we do, we can ask before we get to the
We
final.
might see her tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That is it. Then we are done. And there's nothing else I think that we need to do, is there?
Not for this.
Any other questions you guys might have while we're
No.
looking at the presentation for Rob or Travis? I think the biggest ones for me are the capital items that we need to have, which
Yeah.
we don't have all those numbers yet, but we will be having them here within the next probably 30 days. And then all
Yeah.
the revenues. That's the bigger piece of the puzzle, is what kind of revenues do we have to actually make it work or not work. Okay, sounds good. Thank you all. We're adjourned.